Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, ProCharge EV, and ProChargeEV.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com. Appreciate y'all for being here with us on this Friday. If you're on YouTube, do us a solid, smash that like button. Subscribe up to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. We appreciate y'all for being there. By the way, also Facebook, if you wouldn't mind, pinned or tagged in the description are the sponsors are Brock, Hudco, Restored Motions, and ProCharge. If you would follow all those pages as well, that'd be super helpful. So thank you. We'll say some good mornings here. There in the description I have that Justin Rogers is visiting LSU, something we did talk about a bit on AFR on Thursday. But Rogers, if you don't recall, is a pretty massive defensive tackle. When he was, it's interesting because he's got the same name as several other Justin Rogers. There was a quarterback from North Louisiana named Justin Rogers who went to TCU and has subsequently transferred to UNLV. But Justin Rogers, the defensive lineman, is from the state of Michigan. When he was being recruited, he was the number 52 overall player in the country. He's the fourth highest ranked commit ever to sign with Kentucky. He's 6'3", 320. I mean, he's a massive interior lineman. I mean, he is a blow up the launch pad guy. Went to Kentucky in 2020, COVID year, as a freshman. Weird year for everyone, obviously. Only played in a handful of games. Played in every game as a sophomore in 2021, and then kind of had his blow-up year this past year in 2022. And so he, like a lot of guys, is looking for a new beginning for his final year. Probably wants to go somewhere where he'll have a chance to win. So he's got some big-time programs on the list. Of course, he's visiting LSU. He was here Thursday. He's here today, Friday, and then he's heading to Miami for a visit there. Georgia is also on his list, as are some other big-time schools. So this isn't going to be an easy recruiting battle for LSU, but Rogers would be massive. And listen, LSU's already added 3 defensive linemen, interior linemen via the portal, and 1 edge as well. But they've added 3 interior linemen. You're getting Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, Jacoby, and Guillory back. That's 6. And the 3 players that redshirted with Quincy Wiggins, who could play end, but with Wiggins, and really I guess you could just say Tyjee Hill and Fitzgerald West then on the interior if you want to say Wiggins is an end. But either way, you either have 8 or, so I thought that was true. You either have 8 or 9 interior linemen. So would Rogers want to come join that crowded room? The reason I would say probably is because after Smith and Wingo, I think he'd be the best one. I think Rogers probably better player than Guillory. Better than the 2 young guys. And I guess to be determined about the other transfers, but he was certainly more decorated than the other guys. Jalen Lee, who went to Florida, of course. Paris Shand, who's transferring in from Arizona, and Jordan Jefferson, who's transferring in from West Virginia. So they want a big rotation on that defensive line. And that's something they did not have this year. And I think we just got accustomed to only seeing them play 3 guys. But boy, if you could rotate 6, 7 guys in that interior, you do it. So, all right, we'll say some good mornings here. YouTube, do us a solid again. As always, smash that like button. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Where are we? Jonathan O'Neill, good morning from the fire station. Good morning. Be safe out there today. Carlos Vlan, watching from the DR. Okay. Dominican Republic. Remember the old Saturday Night Live skit with Dominican Lou and Tracy Morgan was Dominican Lou? Is it Sammy Sosa? He's Dominican like me, and I was a brother he. A brother he. Anyway, Dominican Lou. So I always think I want to think of Dominican Republic. Brad David, do you think Jimbo and Bobby Petrino can work at A&M? I think Bobby Petrino is still a great offensive coach and a great play caller and a massive upgrade over Jimbo as far as calling plays in the modern era of football. The caveat is, Brad, will Jimbo leave him alone to run the offense? And I don't know the answer to that. It's something Jimbo has not been able to do. If he's willing to relinquish that control, then sure, it could work. But I don't know if he is. So we will see, friend. Trivia Carter, Eric Wilderrider, good morning. Wonder if an addition of Rodgers to the D-line depth would force a scheme change from House if we can't get a solid linebacker in. No, Eric, you got to keep in mind too, man. I think sometimes we get too hyper-focused on 4-3, 3-4, when in all reality, man, like, that ain't exactly how it looked anyway this year. I mean, B.J. Ojolari was basically like the jack linebacker is basically a stand-up outside linebacker. You can list him as a defensive end if you want, but they have a big end, the stand-up outside backer, and then two interior players that shift around. Heck, we saw Mekhi Wingo play left end at times this year. Now, a lot of that was out of necessity, but you could very easily scheme a guy like Mason Smith in a gap and Mekhi Wingo opposite the center or over the center. There are so many different ways that they could make that work, and let Matt House figure out how to give exotic looks. But if you go look at it, it's just so rare that anybody lines up traditional 4-3 or 3-4 anymore. And usually there's always stunts pre-snap also. So, I don't know, man. I don't worry about that. I mean, you know what I want is options. If you want to go with a true zero technique nose over the center and you want the big 330-pound dude that can blow up a center, I want that dude. Like you had him in Apuaika, and then Ika left because Ed Ogeron wanted to run a traditional 4-3, and that ended up being a really stupid decision. Jason H., good morning. Officially carnival season. Yes, it is. Happy carnival to everybody. Guy Brooks, good morning. Happy Friday from North Carolina. What are your thoughts on the next signing day? Well, Guy, that's a little bit of an incomplete question because we got to see who else might go pro or enter the portal. Again, one of the big decisions we're waiting on is John Emery, who hasn't formally announced anything. But, you know, I'll repeat something I was told last week, which was the feeling was John Emery was going to go pro and that the staff was working on portal running backs. So, if John Emery stays, does that change that conversation? I don't know. I would assume, but I think running back. I think they're going to try to add veteran offensive linemen for depth. And I don't think you're done in the secondary either. Spurge, good morning. Jay Geiger, morning, Matt. Have you heard the reason Tolan hit the portal? No. But we saw yesterday that he's visiting Auburn, and I told you initially my thought was I bet someone just targeted him with a huge NIL opportunity. So what I said on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day that was, like if it's Auburn, Florida, Miami, all the schools that we know are spending big money in NIL and coloring outside the lines, you could probably draw that assumption. And the first visit he made was Auburn. So, and kid's from Orlando, so it's not like he's getting closer. He's closer to home at Auburn than he is at LSU. But it's still hop in your car, drive 30 minutes, and see your family. Mark, good morning. Yeah, Pelicans on national TV tonight again, ESPN against the Nets. KD and Kyrie in town, but no Zion, no BI, no Herb. Hard to beat the best teams in the league without your three best players. Well, certainly your two best players with Zion and Ingram. You could have the convo about Herb. CJ's probably your next best player. Do different things, but anyway. David Coslin, Deborah Cowart, good morning. True Axe, what's up, man? Good morning. Dale Broussard, a beat down of the Maggies is always fun in any sport. Hey, man, it's a big one for LSU basketball tomorrow. They are at Texas A&M, and they got to get that win. We've talked about when you look at the schedule, and look, A&M just won at Florida. And so now LSU goes to A&M, then home against Florida. So if you're LSU, you're 1-1 in the league. These next two, you got to get them. It's hard to win on the road in the league. I get it, but you got to go win this game Saturday at A&M because, man, when you look ahead, like if you lose this game at A&M and then you come home against Florida, that I hate to say that's a must win, but that almost becomes a must win. Because, and I'll run through this again just for those who don't recall. So you play at A&M home against Florida. Then you're at Bama, number 7 Bama. You never win at Coleman Coliseum. You're home against number 22 Auburn, home against number 8 Tennessee, at number 13 Arkansas. You play Texas Tech in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. You're at number 20 Missouri, home against number 7 Alabama, at Mississippi State, who was until recently ranked. So they're 0-2 in the league, though. And then after that, it lightens up considerably. A&M, at Georgia, South Carolina, Vandy, at Ole Miss, home against Missouri, at Florida. So you could go on a run late, but the opportunities to get wins here in the early part of the conference schedule are few and far between. You got one tomorrow. In College Station, you got to go get that win tomorrow. Like whatever it takes, however you got to do it, as ugly as it may feel or seem or look, don't know, but you got to find a way to go get that win tomorrow. Michael Thacker, good morning. Is there a rule for official and unofficial visits for transfer players like there is for high school recruits? No, remember, that's an initial 25. So that's when guys are taking those official visits. This now is guys going to visit schools. I'm sure that when you're talking about transfers, you can, you know what, actually, now I'm thinking about that. That's a good question. Because I know, look, for example, when Burrow came here, like they put up Burrow, they took him out to dinner, all that sort of stuff. Let me get an answer. Let me get an answer for that. That's a good question. If you do have your 5, let me get an answer. That's a good question. If you have 5, and I don't know the answer. I feel like I should know that, and I don't. Let me get an answer. Brant Roban, very random question. What is your go-to breakfast, healthy and unhealthy? So Brant, like, we do meal prep with Jenny Craig. So like I just have a whole bunch of frozen Jenny Craig meals. So I'm pretty simple when it comes to that, man. Like I'll just grab, like I haven't eaten breakfast because I'm going to work out. So I'm dropping off Drew, going to work out. I might have like a Jenny Craig cup of oatmeal or something like that. Or like one of their little, breakfast sandwiches or something like that. I'm pretty simple, man. Like when I'm not, like my vice, when it comes to like your meals, I can do whatever. My vice is I like whiskey and beer and sugar. Like I'll you put sweets in front of me, I feel like I gotta eat them. Like that's my vice. Meals, I could eat grilled chicken and broccoli. I could have egg whites. It's just not like, it's just sustenance. My problem, what has always put weight on me is sugar and booze. Is LSU going after Jordan Burch? Great question, Dale. So Jordan Burch, for those who don't remember, 5-star defensive end from the state of South Carolina, signed with South Carolina, has played there for 2 years, and he is a beast, and he entered the portal yesterday. I would absolutely imagine that LSU and every other team in the country is going to throw their hat in the ring for Jordan Burch. And yes, LSU needs edge players, and I think you absolutely make that push. I don't know if LSU can win that battle because there is going to be a heated battle for that dude. But will they? Should they? If they're not, that's negligence. You better go after that dude. Everybody better. Ryan, Amanda Guidry, Jeff McKithen, Brant Roban. You think by next year O and D line will make it to elite status, or a few years away? So that's probably just a semantics argument. What would you consider elite? I mean, I think obviously players like Will Campbell and Emory Jones are elite players. Mason Smith is an elite player. You're going to have guys like that sprinkled in that are going to be playing at an elite level. But, I think far above average, certainly next year. John Ellis, Craig Straub, what's up? Jason Austin, good morning. Hope you and your family had a happy new year. Kelly Gross, good morning. LSU ladies basketball on a roll. Pels at Brooklyn. Go Pels and Tigers. Tyler Alexander, good morning. Okay, there was the Burch question. Chase Pellegrin, what's going on? Hey, Dad, good morning. Megan Hurst, what's up? Jeff, we started hard 75 on the first. Only bad part is giving up the bourbon. So is that the thing where for 75 days you drink a gallon of water, no cheat meals, no alcohol, and like you work out twice a day? I think there's something else I'm missing in there, but somebody was explaining that to me yesterday, and that sounds awful. Like that's such an extreme way to go about trying to get fit. I mean, wish you luck, Jeff. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying don't go take care of your body, but that's such an extreme way that like it's not sustainable. Even if you make it to the end of 75 days, inevitably, when you make it to the end of those 75 days, there's going to be a boomerang effect. Like, I remember when I ran marathons, here was the worst part about it is my knees and my back and everything are shot, feet, because of all that. But whenever you're training for a marathon, you're running 30, 40 miles a week, so not only can you eat whatever you want, but you have to eat. You have to keep your caloric intake up because you're burning so much. So over the course of months and months and months of training, this becomes your habitual style of eating, that you just eat a lot all the time because you're constantly taking in calories. Well, you run the race and then cold turkey, you're not running 40 miles a week anymore, but you've created these eating habits, and you're not running 40 miles a week. So like after both races I gained a ton of weight right after because I had been in that habit of eating that much and I wasn't still working out the way I was. So anyway, but just be cautious of that, Jeff, and good luck to you, man. All right, smash that like button if you would. As always, brought to you by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. The Orthopedics, go see our friends at Brock. They got all the subspecialties locations all over Greater Baton Rouge. Primary location there at Surgical Specialty Center on Bluebonnet. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. A big week. Phones, web submissions blowing up this week because of all that awful rain. If your neighbor has roof damage, chances are you do as well. So if you've seen roofing companies in your neighborhood, give us a shout. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Restored Motions, if you've got pain, book a session with Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions. And of course, ProCharge EV. Been fun telling you about them as well. That's Terrio and all their new venture, and they're giving me the opportunity to talk them up a little bit. So ProCharge EV, they actually installed their very first fast charging station yesterday in Baton Rouge, which was a pretty exciting day. So follow ProCharge on all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. ProChargeEV.com. Okay. Armstrong Grappling, do you expect Chris Hilton to emerge this year? I hope so. I think he certainly can. I think he and Aaron Anderson are very similar in the fact that they're stretch the field type guys, but I would love to see Chris Hilton be a big play guy. I mean, elite world-class speed. Brad David, when you say Jordan Jefferson, I immediately think back to the horrors of 1-9-12. Carl Alexander, what's up, Scone? Love the hoodie. Under Armour going to be next sponsor on your marketing list. Erica gave me this about a year ago. It's just a really comfortable hoodie. I'm wearing it to the gym. Let's see. You're right, man. Ika was a big loss. Ed was on something strange for losing that kid. And it was a big deal, man. It was a surprise when he left. Gregory Gordy, Sean Comiskey. But, I mean, remember, that was Dave Aranda. Like, Aranda wanted to run the 3-4, and so he needed the big, gigantic interior nose like he had with Tyler Shelvin, and then why he had Ika. And Ed ran off Dave Aranda because Ed. And as soon as he did, he wanted to switch back to a 4-3. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Ed said this on air. Like, he said this on the record. He wanted to switch back to a 4-3, so he brought in Bo Pelini, and Ika left and followed Dave Aranda to Baylor, and probably going to be a first-round draft pick. And Ed Ogeron is fighting co-eds in Destin. College students in Destin. I don't think he's fighting co-eds. Jason co-eds, maybe? Larry Garner, Wendell, Norman, Shane O'Mac, good morning. Thoughts on the rumors about Peyton going to Miami in exchange for Mike McDaniels, if McDaniels is one and done? I think if you're Miami and you have a chance to land Sean Payton, you move on from your coach. I would say the same thing about the Chargers. You move on from Brandon Staley if you have a chance to bring in Sean Payton. I think that should be true for anybody. If you have a chance to bring in Sean Payton, you move on from your coach. I mean, unless if you're Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin or, something like that. Brian Penton, good morning from Chi-Town. James Wade, Jesse Brown, Poe, English. Are they taking a look at Deuce Spurlock, linebacker out of Michigan, cornerback Jordan Young out of Florida? I have no idea. Wrap in batches, Eric Wilder-Rotter. Any idea if the Pels and Saints share the same training staff with all the injuries and delayed return timelines? It seems like it. Yeah, I don't think, Eric, that's fair. I mean, injuries happen. Some of them, I think, soft tissue stuff you might be able to prevent against. But, like, Brandon Ingram injuring his toe when he jammed his foot, like, that's a freak thing. That's got nothing to do with the training staff. Jameis Winston breaking his back, Marshawn Lattimore lacerating a kidney. Like, none of that has anything to do with the training staff. So I'd hesitate there. Let's see, Jesse, do you agree with the NFL not making up the Bills Cincy game? I don't know how you do it, Jesse. I mean, without completely disadvantaging those teams that have to play another game this week, and then if that game this week is altered, then you're affecting even more teams because of the trickle-down effect. So, yeah, and ultimately, if Kansas City wins on Saturday against the Raiders, they're a 9-point favorite. It's all moot anyway because they're the number 1 seed. So, I mean, Kansas City has the head-to-head against Buffalo, and Buffalo would have to win, Kansas City lose, and Kansas City would still have the head-to-head. So it's moot. So, yeah, I mean, not playing the game is the right decision. I don't know how. I mean, after the stoppage on Monday, I mean, Damar Hamlin wasn't responsive until yesterday. Like, I don't know how you get those guys to say, okay, we're getting back on a plane and going back to Buffalo or going back to Cincinnati now to play a game on a Tuesday, and then you're coming back and on a short week now, a super short week. You're going to play Tuesday, get treatment Wednesday, have a walkthrough Thursday. Come on. Like, let's be sensible here. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. I got to go. All right. Thanks for watching. Y'all have an awesome day. OKC lost to Buffalo. My bad. Kate. And Cincinnati beat Kansas City too, right? Okay. I'm sorry. It's 8. I got to go. To be continued. YouTube, smash the like button. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. LSU Daily is already live. AFR at 3. Terrio's back. If you haven't done so yet, please check out the Rosters to Riches podcast with Jay Johnson from this week. We did it. It was a really good convo. And we'll see you. Bruce.